they could pick up their first win of the season.
Yeah, and so far a lot of focus on the jungle bans here, Grapes, as we have the Poppy taken away. Definitely something that I think IG has used really well, flexible between Jiejie and Meiko. And then that Lilia has been a really big pick, I think, for Jiejie, but they gave up the Vi. So that's going to be insta-slammed over the Gwen too, Grapes. We'll see if TheShy wants to go for that or something else, as that's really where my eyes are at. If you go for Gwen, you could go Gwen and Bessa handshake, but I do favor the Gwen in that state. I think that if Gwen shows to really raise the priority of Azir for Karis, we've seen some teams use Azir to kind of move Gwen out of the immune, right, the shroud, and try and push Gwen around and burst her down in the mid game that way. So we'll see if that ends up being an option, but at the moment, just gonna be the response to the Vi in the Xin Zhao as IG kind of take inventory. Varus also up, haven't mentioned that one yet. Really high priority pick for each of these teams, could easily be picked up here.
I saw TheShy type in something, then realize he made a typo, and then click it, and then try to delete it, and then type it again. And I saw the timer like running down. I was like, oh no, we're gonna get another redraft. But was able to lock in the Xin in time. We matched actually alongside the Taliyah. So some of these power picks that we were talking about actually falling down the board here early in this draft.
I don't love Taliyah here. I think that when you're just giving up Ahri for free, and Vi Ahri, you have a lot of pressure to try and make plays into that Xin Taliyah. So if Karis wants it, that's one option. He also loves that Azir. That's another option if Karis wants to go for that. But again, when you're pitching this so early, I think that it's just a free Vi Ahri. Pretty much every mid-jungle duo at this level knows how to play this. It's the way they play off each other and around each other is really powerful. And I think that Taliyah really vulnerable to this combo. It's really easy for both Vi and Ahri to get around the rocks and really pressure Taliyah. So pressure is going to be on Rookie. We'll see if he can pilot this champion to the level that he usually can as Rookie. Very, very good Taliyah player.
Yeah, I was thinking can this Taliyah get flexed anywhere? No, probably not, because of course Jiejie's playing the Xin Zhao in the jungle, as the Gwen for TheShy absolutely secures that as we head into the second phase of bans. Bot lane need to be selected here for Gala and Meiko, whereas on the other side, Cube still has not locked in his champion, so I imagine some top lane bans is going to be the focus here for IG.
Yeah, that's going to be Jace taken away. Again, Jax and Bessa, Renekton, all pretty common matchups that we have against the Gwen. And for Gwen, I really feel like WE now might look to get more champions that can get on top of the Gwen. I think Alistar value is going to go up a lot here, as that's something that, again, can deal with Gwen pretty well. I know that Taliyah can sometimes dissuade Alistars from being selected, but curious if we see IG maybe think about that, and instead they're going to take away the Jax, which I will say, Jax gets some extra mileage going into Xin Zhao as well. I don't love the matchup as much as the Gwen anymore. I think that after the changes, it's much more Gwen favored. And Xayah taking away his defense against Vi Ahri. So don't want to give Gala the potential Xayah Rakan angle. And now it's really just going to see what Gala responds with. Is you got to believe that Meiko is going to get access to counter pick here. And somehow Varus has made his way through the entire pick ban. Obviously, the choice to take away Xayah, I think something that for sure is just the Kais of Vi Ahri showing. They feel like they have to take that one away. But as I highlighted, Alistar, a potential pick to deal with the Gwen, actually going to be blinded here by Meiko. So going to leave 5 pick for Gala.
A couple of answers you could go here. I mean, something like the Braum might work well, but just combining the synergy with the Nautilus maybe is just a little bit more important. We'll see Cube's matchup most likely first. It'll be the Ambessa, and that leaves things up to Vampire. A lot of, again, engaged for Monki right now, and him and Vampire have been leading the charge in that department, so the Nautilus will be the response.
I mean, you gotta believe Gala, if it's Tristana. We've really seen Tristana rise in priority here in NA. It feels like that Triss can take off. A lot of champions are off the board. She does struggle in lane, but is like the safest 3-item plus carry that you can find with the range and the safety that her kit brings. And also a Gala special is known for that Kaisa, but also that Tristana in the past. Common matchup that we've seen. But nope, just going to grab that Varus. I'm going to expect the Poke Varus to be the pick in tow here for Gala. As Gotta believe that he wants the range, doesn't want to play on hit against Viari and Besakaisa. That sounds awful. So we'll try and poke and get people low as that Gwen can cut through the front line. But I really like the playmaking that we see here from the Viari. I think that this is a decent game for it. The Alistar takeaway for me was a decent idea. Definitely protects the Gwen and makes her life a little bit easier in this game. So we'll see if TheShy is able to be big and pop off.
And I like the combination of WE's composition being very pick-oriented with things like the Mbessa, the Vi, the Nautilus, Ahri, even the Kaisa, jumping on top. And also IG's kind of play style as of late, which has been not being fully together in certain team fights. And so that is what WE are going to try to take advantage of here. Utilizing the ultimates that they have, the hard crowd control, the single target picks that they can find against IG to get themselves an early lead. That's going to be the name of the game for them, as they are in their home stadium as well in Xi'an. So we'll see if that gives them any bit of an advantage.
Yeah, again, Team WE, on one hand, I mean, you could say that this is an 0-5 team that you don't want to face. Like, they've taken games off of teams like BLG, teams like Top Esports. We just haven't seen them take those series wins yet, Grapes. So we'll see if that Team WE is due. It took a few series for FPX, who were also picking up games and looking all right to actually find the series win, and for people to really start taking them seriously in Group Ascension. We'll see if this is the time for Team WE against an IG team that, for better or worse, play like themselves. So we'll see what kind of gameplay IG has on the Rift today. You're always in for excitement, Grapes, as I think the last 4 series have all gone to 3 for them. They've really taken playing for content to the next level, as this is a fan favorite team for a reason.
That was sick. As you can hear, the big fans of WE and Xi'an, one of the oldest rivalries we have here in Chinese League of Legends, by the way. WE, formerly known as World Elite, up against Invictus Gaming. Should be a fun one here in a best of 3. Remember, IG currently in 3rd place with that 4-3 record. WE still looking to get on the board in the series win department, but the way both of these teams are playing, Cubby, it feels like it could be anyone's series for the taking.
You still gotta imagine that IG is the favorites, but again, we don't want to diminish Team WE despite being 0-5 and at the bottom of the standings for Group Ascension. We have seen some decent looks from this team. We have seen this team already show improvement in this group. What we were really hoping to see from a squad that was joining the 8 teams in Split 1 who did make the playoffs in this Group Ascension to round out that 10-team league, as they won that 3-seed war in order to find their way here. And Team WE, a team that feels like they are on the up, so a win against IG would be really big in terms of making sure that, again, a team to be taken seriously and not just a Group Ascension pushover or a potential Group Nirvana escapee.
I love that. Nirvana escapee, because it really does feel like that sometimes. When you look at the differences in the schedule and maybe even the gameplay of some of these teams down there. Remember, 18 best of 3s are the reward for WE compared to just 5, and high stakes 5 at that, as WE's Valiant actually hits level 2 first, lands the dredge line onto Meiko on the Alistar, not very strong until he gets that level 2, and so taking advantage of that very nicely are Taeyoon and Vampire.
Yeah, of course, Nautilus early on going to be able to have a little bit of advantage over Alistar, who needs a couple levels to actually become relevant as a support, but all good. And he makes up for it later in the game, as I've seen the Cow be a very strong support. Just the fact that you get pretty much guaranteed 2 combos off thanks to your ult, and have that get out of jail free card. Alistar has always been a pick in the meta for a reason, and always a treat to see Meiko play this one. As again, Meiko really looking for Meiko, who has just been okay to potentially a little bit suspect so far this split, to again really step up and step into that form that we know and love Meiko for in the LPL in history, as one of, if not the best support of all time in this league. And paired up with Gala here on IG, and this again another super team that was formed this past offseason. It feels like IG again. We've seen them win games with hands, Grapes, but we want to see them win games in a little bit more consistent fashion moving forward.
The brain, maybe.
Yeah, or combining the hands and the brain a little bit more. Because we've seen some angles of it, and then we've also seen some, like, we're going to contest a 4v5 because we're IG and we're better. And that doesn't always work out because you're, you know, signing up for a play that's pretty disadvantaged for you. But, you know, that's why we love IG.
Love him or hate him. They are always the team on the top of people's minds here in the LPL. They love going for their own plays, as you mentioned.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, IG is pretty much the hot blonde of the bar that can get away with saying a lot of things that other people can't. You know?
Okay,
I really feel like that's what IG is in this league.
How do you come up with that so quick?
Life experience, Grapes. Get to be 29, all right?
Oh my God. No. Okay. Maybe you have some more things to teach me after this series.
I don't know. I don't know if you want to go learning those things. But we will see what the game has in store for us here as the IG bot lane does match the swap. Gala going to feel good catching that caddy wave. And TheShy going to TP down here, so no TPs for the top laners to join any potential grub fight as both teams shifting up there early.
This charm from Karis onto Rookie. Electrocute proc sends him down to about 60% HP, as you said. Getting ready for those neutral objectives to spawn. It's Monki getting priority around this dragon, but actually starting it up. Meanwhile, Vampire going for a roam here onto Rookie.
Good roam.
Doesn't even get the chance to use his flash as Karis times his charm beautifully and picks up first blood for WE.
Yeah, Vampire used that control ward to make sure that at least a portion of it he got in unspotted, and a nice roam. Again, we saw that wave was pushed in. Vampire used the time to walk. Rookie was not hovering. He was hovering the side that his jungler was on, but not the right side for where Vampire could be, and ends up getting punished as, again, Vampire, these games that WE has won, and Vampire overall has looked a lot better in the last few series. A player that we were really asking to step up, and one that we were kind of scratching our heads at times, who, you know, just has moments where he's caught out and looks poor, which can happen, to be fair, as a support on a team that's losing, as W has been. But, again, with them being able to find some wins against quality teams late in Group Ascension, he really has been the person that has been stepping up and finding big plays for his team, especially early.
And this is a player who got criticized to oblivion when he was on IG last year. I mean, obviously a very popular team, did not do so well in 2024 summer as Monki. He's going to steal away one of the grubs, but Vampire has done a lot for this WE team in their recent turnaround. Remember, this is just a guy in his second full season. He's only 19 or 20 years old, very young player, and still learning a lot, as we clearly have seen. IG gonna get probably 2 of those 3 grubs, but might come at the cost of something else. As Monki might come in here. No, gets smited away by Jiejie, but he has to flash away. It's matched by summoner spells of the mid jungle of WE though, and Jiejie will drop 2-0 so far in this game for Team WE as Taeyoon and Vampire still trying to chase Meiko and Gala down, but won't be able to find anything more.
Yeah, this is why I don't like the Talia response into that Vi first pick, because again, you open up the Ahri, and the ability for Vi and Ahri to get around the unraveled earth and still pressure you is so difficult. Rookie that time locked down with Jiejie, who, again, the unraveled earth wasn't able to provide enough peel to get his jungler out of there, and Monki and Karis just brute forcing that one, using the power of this duo at this point of the game to make sure that they get a positive play in their favor. Also, shout out to Karis, not going for the Roa Ahri this game. I am a big fan. I know it's strong in solo queue. I know you get wins, but I really feel like as Ahri, you are shifty enough where you can go for that one-shot build. You want to be able to do damage to these games and find those one-taps, and I like the fact that Karis is going for that. I don't think a long fight against a Gwen is, not always something that you want in the cards. So gonna see that likely Blackfire Torch come out on Ahri, which I think is just the better item to the Roa early on. So really nice to see Karis use this build. I've been seeing a lot of Roa Ahri and getting a little bit frustrated, Grapes. So shout out to Karis.
It fits with the identity of the WE composition as well, which is to find picks, single target damage. Name of the game here for WE. As the Dragon has been started up by Invictus. They should be able to lock this one down. But Monki has hit level 6 and first engages in with the dredge line for Vampire.
Jiejie
target is Jiejie, gets hit up by the season desist. Taeyoon is within the ultimate range, so should be able to do enough damage. But here comes TheShy. The needlework is shredding apart WE. But Taeyoon will use the killer instinct to get away here from the Gwen for now. Jiejie still alive, finally will drop to the Kaisa, but it'll get matched by TheShy, taking him down as they go 3 for 2 overall.
And the fact that TheShy was here was the big difference maker for IG as he makes his impact felt and gets a lot of gold in this Gwen, which that's a scary champion to give gold over to, as I will say I didn't mind the look from WE. Like, I think that's a greedy dragon to take. I kind of want to go back. I wasn't sure if they saw like the Gwen get in or how the Gwen got in. Because for me, that's the big surprise, seeing TheShy there. Okay, yeah, no, he's hit the dragon. He's spotted. They sign up for this one. Gala walks around and ends up being pretty impactful. I love Meiko there. That was really nice. Karis was out of charges. That crescent guard from the Xin meant that double Q from Karis wasn't able to go through and find the kill. As, yeah, Karis was able to sneak out in the end, but still 3 for 2 in favor of IG. I think that Meiko did a great job at interrupting things in the middle of the fight. Looking back, that was the big difference maker for me.
And Jiejie, you know, allowing him to stay alive for that long, it forced a lot of resources to be used by WE that and was responded to by TheShy, able to clean things up for himself rather nicely. He's now up 700 gold over Cube. Picked up his first full item in the Rift Maker before anybody else here in the game, Cubby. So he's going to be one of the stronger players here for IG. Whereas on the other side, Karis definitely has been getting himself a big advantage as well. 15 CS up, and he's 3-0-1. Big beneficiary, and somebody who I think has been playing a lot better so far here as the weeks have also gone on.
Yeah, again, it's kind of weird because Taeyoon and Karis, you know, it feels like at times their LCK rejects like couldn't make it there, but to see them come over here and like be really solid again, for me, Taeyoon's been the real highlight of this team, regardless of the form of the other members for WE. It feels like Taeyoon's always bringing his consistent best to the Rift, which is not exactly what you expect from a team that is 0-5, but again, for me, Taeyoon has been really solid on this squad and an AD that we look forward to seeing play. The wins that WE were getting earlier on in the season did feel like they came off of a big Taeyoon performance for the most part. I think that of late, it's been a much more well-rounded performance from their team, and Karis has been a big part of that.
Had a good Azir game against Top Esports that we got to cast together. Played well in the Investa in WE's last series in their lone win. So being able to do it on a number of different champions is also a big thing for a player like this on a team that is still looking to grow. Now doing well on the Ahri, and now they're going to start up the grubs here. Remember, WE, they want to try to single out isolated targets, so maybe the 5v5 fighting around these neutral objectives, not necessarily their bread and butter, so they at least sneak away one. And now Monki looking for maybe Rookie on this other side, unless he sneaks back into the enemy jungle.
Monki has a hell of an angle on Gala, who's on a ward.
Yeah, here he goes, spotted on a ward. Here comes Taeyoon, combined with the cease and desist. Gala, sure to be in trouble. He pops the barrier, survives for a little bit longer. Here comes TheShy. Rookie on the flank as well. It'll make it a 1-for-1 as Taeyoon will drop Monki in the next to follow. But in comes Cube. Lands that public execution. Meiko will surely go down. Now it's up to him and Karis to try to save the fight. But TheShy and Jiejie will be able to win it here for IG. They go 3 for 2 once again.
TheShy was the big beneficiary of that dragon fight. He is so big here now at 3-0-3 as I like the idea to find Gala. I think the mistake there was the early ult from Taeyoon. He ended up getting stuck. The TP from Rookie created a fantastic angle for IG where they could all collapse onto Taeyoon, the big carry for WE. Remove him from the fight and then allow for TheShy to run the rest of it. Is taking a look. Again, Gala spotted. We're talking on the ward. WE can collapse, but Taeyoon pretty much ults in place, straightforward. Vampire blows everything on the Gala, which I didn't like. I think that dredge line was... the depth charge was unwarranted. The dredge line goes wide, and Taeyoon falls and creates a really disadvantageous scenario for WE as Cube does his best to even things up, but still a lot burned onto Gala, who ended up living a long time there, Grapes. And that ult from Taeyoon, I think he really wanted to have that one back later on to try and escape the collapse that was very sound from IG.
Yeah, it seemed like a situation that WE would like. Remember, using your hard crowd control to lock down single target members, the Kaisa ults over the top, but IG prepared really well for it. And you know, as you said, after Taeyoon used the ultimate, really had nowhere to go once Rookie teleported straight into the mid lane and was able to single him out afterwards. So even game state right now, I think we still overall favor IG though in the full 5v5 team fights unless WE finds some sort of pick before it.
Yeah, and I know it's an even gold game from the look of things, but again, IG having that gold onto Gwen can be so oppressive, and really have to keep our eyes open because in a classic IG game, right, a little bit of a quicker pace here at Grapes, and have a couple players that are getting a little bit more out of control, have gold. Karis 4-0-1. Not the Torch, but the Malignance on the Ahri. So the real old school build. And we'll see if they can pressure the TheShy, who is pretty far up, and everyone's going to go on the TheShy.
Decent assist once again here from Monki, combined with Public Institution, but the TheShy living for a long time. Needlework killing him up. Finally, he will go down as the shutdown goes towards Karis once again. Very fed on this Ahri, but will he be fed enough to win this fight? And as Cube goes a little bit too far forward, and Gala will get the kill.
Yeah, the Cube kind of walked over the rocks, stunned himself. It was a bit of an oopsie, and that execute on the TheShy was good. A little bit too far up there. Public Execution did go wide, but still enough gas in the tanks for WE to pick up that kill. A 1-for-1, but Karis, I will say he's going to head back, so an opening here for IG to try and retake the map. And of course, IG were the ones that took down the Dragon in that sequence, so the fact they got the objective, win for IG.
Karis is going to be very rich. That was a big shutdown they got onto the TheShy, who was very fed, still is very fed, but now averted barrier picked up. We're lacking in the damage department a little bit more, as we're going back to the more defensive-oriented build, but against the double AP solo laners, it's not too bad.
I think it's, like, Banshees is decently valuable this game. The MR is nice. Also, the shield can help you against a piercing arrow, or, like, save you from getting comboed by something like Talia. It can buy you some time, right? Talia's going to have to throw out the Q to get that spell shield off you before you eat the combo. Or, actually, no. I guess the E applies damage, so then you would be able to find the flick afterwards. But you can't go flick into E, which is sometimes the combo on Talia, too, as we talked. We're going to figure this out live on air, Graves. But, I'm with you. I think that just going Leandries here is fine. I'm down with the MR. I'm just surprised that it was like this was the answer with the Acidity boots into this. And it being second is a little bit surprising to me as well.
You were so excited for the high damage Ahri build, and now we're going more towards the utility again. So
now I'm sad again. Yeah. Oh, showing off some.
Shout out Faker.
Yeah.
We got a new Hall of Legends entry.
Yeah, they're gonna get Uzi in there, you know?
You think so?
Oh God, yeah. Come on.
It's gotta be, I think.
I mean, I'm also on the LPL English broadcast. I gotta be biased here. it's my chance. I mean, shout out to Karis. You know, any assigns are sort of Faker versus LPL teams. It's been pretty good history in the past, you know.
That's true. Went through that whole gauntlet a couple of years ago. Karis looking to maybe claim some of that legacy here on the Ahri, but not.
He's never lost to an LPL team at Worlds, you know. I'd say channeling any sort of energy of that into the LPL is, you know, maybe an unfair advantage, Graves. Who knows?
So far, Karis has not won a series against an LPL team this season. So
never won never lost the best of 5 to an LPL team at Worlds. Before we have the keyboard warriors get after me for that one.
As Rift Herald is up. Not going to be taken here right now. WE in a good position overall, though, Cubby. And again, this is the third place team in the LPL they're playing against. Another game where they look very competitive after being a team that was expected to be more towards the bottom feeder category here in Group Ascent.
It has been the trend for WE. Again, they are 0-5, but they have gotten quality wins in their recent matches, too. As they've started to look better. Again, took a game off Top Esports, took a game off BLG, took a game off of AL. Keep in mind, AL and Top Esports are both sitting at the top of the standings that we have close to the end of our first round robin here for Split 2 proper, as we're calling it. And that's I mean, you say any team that's like able to, you know, take games or contest against those three, I feel like that's an opponent that has to be respected here, Grapes. And WE proving that in this early game, keeping things kind of close still. Very scared for them because I see the TheShy on this Gwen, and I see the CS, I see the inventory, and I know that, you know, the TheShy, everyone likes to be like, oh, haha, you know, like, you never know what's going to happen with the TheShy back at home, but I wouldn't want to give this guy this kind of lead on Gwen, because I feel like when you get a lead like this, and it allows for the TheShy to have higher odds of doing the stupid things that we're used to seeing the TheShy do, and the stupid things, I mean, in the good way.
The stupid good things, yeah.
Yeah, the stupid good things, where it's like, oh my god, of course, like, the TheShy just did that.
I think working towards probably a Cosmic Drive second item for a little bit of extra CDR, a little extra movement speed. Not the Nashor's Tooth just yet, as we'll be waiting on that one specifically. We have the next dragon spawning in 20 seconds. IG have picked up the first two, so Soul Point would be very nice. It is the Hex Tech.
They're going to try and collapse. We'll see what happens with Rookie here. As Meiko spotted on a ward as well, so Monkey's going to have a lot of info. And they have Rookie pretty much trapped, but good ward from Meiko. Yes, it's not a control ward, but they do spot Monkey, so Rookie going to be a little bit aware that something is amiss. Just find that control ward behind him too, but it has a lot for Vampire to sneak all the way in here, Grapes, and we'll see if they just end up pulling the trigger.
Monkey headed back to base, so was not too worried about IG starting up the Dragon immediately, but actually that's going to happen, so we'll see if Monkey gets here back in time. It is right now just Jiejie hitting onto the Dragon, but now the TheShy has arrived. All 5 members of IG are here. Monkey is back. Wall. Jumps over the wall. It's going to be a 50-50 potentially if he gets into the pit, but instead, it's going to be the collapse here onto Jiejie. He goes on to Monkey first. The smite is secured by Invictus Gaming, and nobody's died just yet. Vampire in the middle of everybody with the aftershock on top of him, but the public execution goes back onto Jiejie. Meiko has to flash on out. Karis flashes himself. The needlework goes wide, but the TheShy is down onto Karis, but Karis has not fallen just yet. Monkey the next target. IG are running away with this team fight as they get all 3 kills, maybe looking for a 4th. Karis still alive. Charm gets immune away from him, and TheShy will shut him down.
Great reaction from TheShy. A beautiful fight from him and Meiko, who I thought created a ton of space in the middle on the Alistar yet again. As IG, in what was a close game, really shut WE out in that fight, make it look clean, Grapes. As I think the buy Ahri execute that came in, A, it wasn't enough damage or gas in the tank, and then B, Meiko, when we get the replay, really split Team WE up in the middle of the fight, bought so much time and space to really reset their battle lines, and I think that was a big difference before IG, as it really enabled TheShy to take over the back half.
Now Cube could be in trouble as the Otacon goes down. It is the Voracious. It means that there will be false lives, even if Cube can get one back, but he will not be able to, as Rookie will get his first kill of the game.
Man, it feels like IG really just took over. All right, again, love the turn on the Monkey, but keep your eyes on Meiko here. As that's one combo on the Monkey, but then he's going to walk up, eats this from Vampire, ends up buying a lot of space in the back half. Yeah, I mean, ends up... Oh, I guess he just popped his ult and walked out. Never mind. It's just TheShy buying space. All right, I lied. I thought I saw another combo in there. I mean, the reactions from TheShy are just supreme in this. Of course, had info of that with the ward, but flashed over the charm. Beautiful reaction here on Karis. Then... You know what? Outplayed him once. Why not outplay him again? As we're going to react to the second charm with going immune. Ends up taking that away from him, and Karis goes down, and TheShy. That's a big shutdown going over to him, and he continues to get more and more fed in this game on the Gwen.
He's the most fed member, Karis, on the Ahri, and TheShy kind of ate up all the pressure that he tried to possess onto him. Dodged away from both the charms. Those are 2 very crucial abilities that did not hit onto any member of Invictus Gaming in that fight. And I again have to question Monkey going back to base right as that Dragon spawned. It let IG set up full control around that Dragon. And the way W's composition set up, you don't want to allow them to get those free setups.
Yeah, still props to IG. That was a beautiful wall from Rookie, too, that really opened up the opportunity to go on Monkey early on like that. So love the use of terrain there from IG and Rookie. And love this Rift Herald, too.
Another wall.
They're gonna lock him in. Monkey.
Oh, it cuts off Monkey. He's gonna be in so much trouble. The Chain of Corruption plus all the damage comes down onto him. That's another 4v5 on the map here for IG. They still have the Voracious Otacon buff on them for another 30 seconds. That should maybe be the inhib if they want it, but instead they're gonna back away and turn their sights onto another target.
I think that's really smart, actually, from IG to leave that inhib up. Meanwhile, this is gonna be a little bit risky to hit the turret. Yeah, because he would have ended up behind the turret if he ends up hitting it. So. Jiejie is going to take that Herald, or that Shelly.
Crowd loved it.
Yeah, on the way out. I mean, I love the push from IG. Again, these walls from Rookie did highlight his Talia. He is very good on this champion. The first 2 walls we've seen from him in these last 2 fights, it has been what has set up the kills on the Monkey.
And yeah, Monkey has had a bit of a rougher game. This is the guy that... Maybe a little bit of a flipper, but I feel like you're coming in to this W roster. They needed somebody like it, but sometimes the coin flips tails, and I feel like that's what we've seen here so far in this game.
Yeah, I mean, just a really tough scenario that IG putting Team WE in between the Weaver's Wall, cutting them off, and that... Wait, what? That Herald went that way? That must have still been tracking the fact that Weaver's Wall was up or something goofy like that. I have no idea. That was a goofy one. Regardless, Karis is going to be spotted here. Rookie.
Nice charm combined with Monki. This is the pick that we need to see. On to Rookie. They will shut him down as Karis picks up the gold. Teleports will match from the top laners, but TheShy will be here sooner rather than later. Target going to be Cube. Use the public execution to try to escape. There comes TheShy though. The needlework shredding apart WE. Vampire will fall. The next target could be Meiko as WE answer one right back. Overall a 2 for 2 on the map, but TheShy is still very, very strong here in this team fight. Charm will get dashed away from as Karis is all out of juice now.
Yeah, TheShy tries to get a little bit more damage off. Gonna have to walk away now, but honestly 2 for 2, just given that WE is behind. I would say it's worth, but that's not enough to actually prevent the Hextech Soul going over as IG been doing their due diligence on the Rift, stacking up these dragons, and it's gonna potentially pay off in a soul here, as we do have Karis TPing mid, but he has no ultimate, no way to check this, so it's just going to be Hextech Soul going over, and you're giving that to a Poke Varus and a Taliyah Grapes. I mean, I think that this is just the game.
It's going to be tough, and this game was so close until that first team fight that really broke it open. This is what we needed to see more out of WE in this game, but IG really haven't let them do that.
And this is like really where IG is the team that is fun, because when they do play fast, it's a lot of it is about taking good plays. And even this one, like Rookie, yes, he gets taken out first, but the collapse from the team I think is very warranted. They are up. They end up not only evening the kill score, but they understand that with their strength and with TheShy joining, they are able to win out on the HP war, even the fight, and give themselves the positioning for that dragon to make it so difficult for WE to take. So that's like the moment where I do love IG is, hey, we made sure that 4v5, we turned it into a 2 for 2 by taking 2 kills in the back half of it, and we got control over the right part of the map, so we got the neutral objective. So like that's one of those like fights where you look back and yes, it might look sloppy, but it's actually really calculated from IG, because again, they secured Hextech Soul for free off that fight, and you give a Poke Varus, a Taliyah, a Hextech Soul, and this game is going to end quite quickly as TheShy making quick work of that inner turret on the top lane, and all sights for IG set on this Baron as they're taking full control over this topside river.
And now for WE, just have to continue to try to find picks. It's going to be harder and harder to do so, though, as IG knows that that's the win condition that can lose them this game. So the Baron going to be started up. 5 members of IG all on the top side of the map. Monki on the way, but not there just yet. And Hexgate over, as everyone on IG knows that he's there. Could get targeted out.
TheShy
jumps over the wall. Weaver's wall comes out from Rookie. WE's jungler now completely out of the picture here for this Baron. Just went way too far forward to try to go for some sort of smite before it was even taken down. There goes the season assist on the Rookie. No follow-up is here from any member of WE as TheShy has opened up here with the needlework. They try to find somebody, but everybody's way too tanky here on Invictus Gaming side. Meiko with a 2-man pull. Karis is down. Taeyoon is down. And that should just about do it here in this game. Cube, the last remaining survivor, but he will drop like a balloon as IG pick up the full ace and are marching down middle lane.
A good game from IG again, really in the mid game after the first couple skirmishes. Great. So we were thinking of, hey, TheShy, he was sitting at 3-0-3. We had Karis at like 4-1, 5-1 in this game. I think Karis going that Banshee second, it really killed the damage and the snowball potential from WE. We saw a couple fights where there's just not enough damage to get through the front line, get the resets, and there was always enough damage in the pockets of TheShy, who got fed early, made sure he carried his team late, and going to be a likely pog for him as IG cruised to a Game 1 victory.
And that's the IG that we want to see more of here as we go throughout the Group Ascend season. And for WE, you know, maybe a little bit expected as they are 0-5, but they played the early game very well. It seemed like they understood their win conditions at least a little bit in terms of trying to find picks with the composition that they locked themselves in. But IG just set themselves up a little bit too well, and that resulted in them taking this game in 27.
Leading up to that third, like, it was really up until that third dragon, it was a close game to a good game coming out from IG, but after that, TheShy got really fed off the back of a couple of fights and good plays from him. Him being involved in those early fights and those kills was really significant, and we saw the kind of work that Gwen did later on. And for WE, again, I gotta pick on Karis for the Banshees build. I just think that, again, I give the pitch before we even saw the Malignance. You are Ahri. You have to do damage. Going Malignance in the Banshees is just kind of signing up for no damage, and we saw a few fights where people got out. You didn't get resets on the Ahri. And on the flip side, you had Rookie, who was set behind and focused a little bit early, right? With a nice roam from Vampire and Karis getting ahead. Have beautiful Weaver's Walls to really put Monki in bad spots. And feels like they kind of exposed the mid-jungle of WE at points in that game as they weren't able to execute the Vi Ahri. And It ended up being IG that were much more put together and found the win.
Yeah, and nobody really on WE stepping up in those later game team fights, and I think it's just because Karis kind of got his ankles broken a little bit by TheShy on that dragon that resulted in the game being broken open for IG. He was the guy who had the big lead early on. He's the guy who won the 1v1 for side select, but it was TheShy who had the last laugh at the end of the day there. And so now WE left wondering what they can do to try to bounce back in this series. They want to avoid going down to 0-6, but obviously still just experience is what this team is looking for the most.
Yeah, I mean, experience, but also, you know, trying to... We got to start getting some serious wins. Like, this is a group ascension team. We got to hope to see some positives from WE, and we have seen them, again, taking games off of BOG, Anyone's Legends, and Top Esports. That's a good run for any team in the LPL, especially if you're Team WE. I mean, you could argue that's a career for them if you don't look at the history of Team WE in this league. But, you know, given the roster they have this year, a good look. But, man, really seeing that Gold Graph Grapes leading up to that third Drake game was close. Third Drake happened, and things came crashing down on WE as the dream was dead, and the Scissors reigned supreme on the map. A good game for
see, when
TheShy.
the Gwen has, like, the same amount of damage as a poke Varus, that means that TheShy did pretty good in that game. Not a ton of team fightings, but he was able to take control of the ones that did happen.
I really liked how he played that dragon fight where we saw him flash the charm, kill, or get the Ahri out, and then we saw him react to the second charm with the Shroud. That is the TheShy that we know and love with really what he's known for, those reaction speed, the mechanics, and the Gwen, quite nice from him there. As that was a form of IG at their best. An IG that looked really good. I thought that Meiko also had a really nice game on Alistar, was getting a lot of value in a lot of these fights, just like buying time. Setting up for his team and sneaking out at the end, as it was really good look for IG from top to bottom. It's going to be a MVP for TheShy for sure, but we'll take the good team look and team effort, as I feel like you can really credit all 5 members with positive moments and plays in that game.
Yeah, you can see again the identities of WE's team composition there, but IG able to handle it. It seemed like every time somebody looked like they were getting picked off, the rest of IG just pulled up. They knew they were better off in the 5v5, especially with TheShy getting really fed on the Gwen. And they were definitely right in that regard. Some of these fights were a little bit more even. They were like 3-for-2s in favor of IG, but they were still wins nonetheless, as this is that team fight, I think, that really broke the game open.
Yeah, again, that wall to have that early start on the Monki is great. And then Monki and Karis just couldn't sync up. Of course, Monki had to get out without the cease and desist being cast. Karis wasn't able to find any important targets because TheShy was just tracking him for the entire fight. And TheShy went big on the front line there. With I guess we missed this Taeyoon. Not quite able to win the 2v1 against Rookie and Gala. That was, again, well managed from IG. A lot of good stuff coming out of them from these fights. And how about another nice reaction speed moment from TheShy, as his Gwen continues to be pretty scary. One of the better champions I believe he has had in his pocket throughout his career in the back half. I might do some homework on that one, Grapes, but I know it's a champ that at least I somewhat have associated with TheShy in the past.
Yeah, definitely. He's always been pretty good on it.
24 games with a 66% win rate. Yep, that's pretty good. Not bad.
Now a little bit higher than 66, I guess. Whatever the math.
No, I priced it in, you know.
Oh, okay.
I priced it in.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
priced it in the market.
Some mental math on the stream. Very nice.
Oof. Roughly. Yeah, we'll go with that.
As this is one of those last fights here. WE, I think they tried to separate members of IG, but at this point the lead was just a little bit too much. If you are WE, I like the way that they played out some of these fights. It just was not enough to stop IG, and I wonder maybe if a more 5v5 oriented fight or team composition is a little bit easier to execute against a team like this, and maybe that's something that they want to turn to, as they will be back on the blue side most likely for the second game.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see if Team WE can at least rely on the win rate of blue side coming into the day in the LPL, which was 58.5%. We'll say that is pretty significant advantage when you have a sample size of 94 games coming in. We have seen every team pretty much choose blue in every scenario, as the Fearless Draft, getting access to that B1 power pick / that 4th ban has been really big for these teams. And look at that. How surprised are we at that Pog/MVP for TheShy, as he continues to be the protagonist on a team that always feels like the protagonist in any game that they play, because it feels like whatever game IG plays is dictated by how IG plays, regardless of the opponent, you know? It's just kind of the team that we have. But hey, that was a good game from IG, and sometimes when they do play faster or, like, get bloody, like that 2 for 2 to secure that Hextech Soul, like, those are the moments that I really do appreciate this team when they are at their best. So that's a good read, and we'll see if it can continue in the series.
So Invictus Gaming, currently in 3rd place in the LPL standings, looking to continue to hold that spot and doing a good job at that early on by taking a 1-0 lead over Team WE. When we come back, we'll see if WE can bounce back. We'll have the draft for game number 2 after this.